Hello, everyone. Welcome to the WebMardi. I'm really happy to be with you tonight. We are currently live on YouTube and Twitch. Before doing the talk, I will make a short introduction about the WebMardi. Then Sara will take over and make a presentation. At the end of the talk, we will have a small Q&A session. You will be able to ask a question in the chat on YouTube or in Twitch. Nelson will moderate all the questions with Kevin, and then we will ask them to Sara at the end of the talk. After that, we will announce the next meetup, and of course, what we plan for the WebMardi in 2021. So, what is the WebMardi? So basically, the WebMardi is an association that runs meetup in the west side of Switzerland. We've been doing meetup since 2009, I guess. We meet all first Tuesday of each month, except for tonight, which is the second. We have a 45-minute talks that can be about code, design, sharing experiences around the web. And then we have this small Q&A session. When we do it physically on live, we also make people win prizes. And we also have a session where people can share about the topics they want on the stage. The association is run by Camille, Nelson, Kevin, and myself. we are grateful to have two premium sponsors, Leap and Antistatic. They help us to get financially sustainable, so that's due to them that we can make those events. And thank you to Leap and Antistatic for their support. The WebMardi is also a partner of JetBrains and Smashing Magazines. Okay, I won't talk too much. Tonight, we have the pleasure to invite Sara. Sara will talk about SEO. So I'll let you take over, Sara.
Thank you so much, Geoffrey, and thank you for all the team of WebMardi. You're so sweet to invite me here today. So I will start by sharing my presentation. At least you will know a little bit more about me and finally about JavaScript SEO. So let me share the presentation, hoping that I'm doing it correct. Da-na-na-na. Can you see it? Say yes.
Not yet. Oh, yeah, we can see
Okay.
it now.
Like a moment of panic. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Geoffrey. So, okay, who I am, as I will speak about SEO, is because I love SEO. I work at Leap with Geoffrey. So I co-host a meetup that equals SEO Nerd. If you want to learn more about the SEO, you can join that meetup. We always invite like super famous people in the domain. I'm part of Women in Digital community, so to support women to have more women in digital. In the digital sector. I am deeply inspired by a community that equals Women in Tech SEO. They really did really a lot for the entire world of SEO. If ever you are interested in knowing more in the community, you can join them, and they are extraordinary. So that's a little bit about myself. The agenda. So as the topic is obviously JavaScript SEO and the myths, so obviously we will speak about the myths. The first is not so much a myth around JavaScript, but it's just like an introduction. And mainly the focus today, it will be on performance and rendering, because that is where JavaScript impacts SEO. I hope then everything is clear. So first myth, SEO and dev have different goals. Okay, we all agree this is not JavaScript. However, for me, it was like important to make you understand before starting that we absolutely have no different goal. We are really complementary, and like SEO can't do their job if developer do not support them. And so let me explain a little bit like why is good SEO for business, because for business they make money through SEO, so obviously is important. So what Google will repeat non-stop, what is good for user is good for SEO, and I 99% agree. I would also say what's good for user and for bots, Google bots especially, is good for everybody. And regarding developers, we have the same goals. Often developers want to improve the performance of the website, especially if you are a front-ender, it's fun. You can refactor the front end, so somehow you enjoy your job. And so how you can convince your business? You can use SEO to convince your business to enjoy a little bit more and update your front end in a certain sense, and just remind them that SEO allow them to make money. So I hope that until here everything is clear. Obviously, I couldn't start a bit without a bad experience of JavaScript. So like there is this company in the industry, and they do quite a bit of analysis about JavaScript. And I put here a source. Okay, we can see it. Okay. However, I put the resource is Onelli, and they are really famous for JavaScript SEO. And they did a research like maybe a year ago, if I remember well. And on this research, they were showing like, okay, obviously websites are indexed, but then we can see then we still have some problems with famous website, like content is not indexed properly. Later on, we will check how you can check if your content is indexed. So next, okay, why SEO are obsessed with JavaScript? Okay, we literally have a discipline, JavaScript SEO, for that. So why? Mainly because we are always worried about rendering. So we will speak a little bit later about rendering when we will speak about like how Googlebot works, and especially the web rendering service. And we are always worried about performance because it impacts the ranking. Okay, so let's really start speaking JavaScript. Google can't index JavaScript. So I have heard that like so many times, and that's simply not true. So as you can see here, you have like in yellow rendering. So yes, Google can index JavaScript. Let's like pass through it a little bit and try to check how this process works, and how Google can, like, you have 3 steps. One of the steps is the crawling, then you have the indexing, then you have the rendering, and then you have the indexing. And this is the 3 steps that you will have before being able to like Google something and find an answer. So these 3 steps are fundamental. And here in these 3 steps is where developer can make the difference. Because if something goes wrong here, then your website will just not be indexed, and or the web page. And then if it is not indexed, but nobody will find you.
So, Sarah, just one thing. You have a little notification. Can you just move it so that you can see the whole image? You can just drag it. Yeah, this little box with the blue button. Yeah, just move it like really on the right so that we can see the whole presentation. Yeah.
Okay.
Before it was perfect. Just a bit below the presentation. Yeah, all good.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's start from what happens here. So everything is based on URLs mainly. So first step, there is like a crawling queue. So in the crawling queue, like a URL will be selected. Then what will happen there? So what will happen is then if you have the robot.txt, for example, my guess is then everybody here knows what is a robot.txt, but then say like, don't crawl this URL in a certain sense, then you will be blocked there. If not, Google like will fetch by having a HTTP request. Then EA will have the answer. Then we will pass to, we are here to the crawling phase. Then at this point, what will happen is then Google bot, remember Google bot, because I know Google is such a big company. So yes, a Google bot will like parse the answer. And what will happen in the processing phase, and that is super important, why I was saying about URLs, is then they will extract the URLs. And so these extracted URLs will go back here. Now, what happens is then if in like till some time ago, like you had like website and were not having JavaScript. So it was enough to have the initial HTML and the final HTML were the same. So that means that you could find all the links and all the information, and you could directly skip to the indexing phase. Now, with websites that are JavaScript heavy, what happens? The initial response is absolutely not the same at the end. And for example, if you have worked with a single page app, you realize then there are no links inside. So the problem is then when the website is rendered, you will find all the links. So this is why Google is obliged to create this part. However, this part, like, it doesn't come for free. So I will explain later on like why it doesn't come for free. It's very costly. So another thing then I will explain later on a little bit, but remember, in this part, Google will like cache a lot of resources. Then it will send them here. When everything is ready, then the rendering part will start. The renderer HTML, voila. They will find new links. New links will go to the crawling queue again, and then we will go. And when the page is rendered properly and Google have all the correct information, then it will go to the indexing. Okay, we will go a little bit more in detail about that. If I can, no. Okay, so we will do it like this. So here is the crawling. So it was like the first phase. Okay, I just love it. This image is not really completely correct, but yes, it will give you a good idea. So it's like a crawler will go from one URL to the other one. So it will follow the links, and this is like why links are so important, because all the process is based on links. So thanks to the crawling process, Google will discover new pages, because that is why is how it does it. Through the links, it discovers new pages and will discover also updated content. Now, what I was saying before then is very important, and that is very important because I will explain you later on. Just keep in mind that in these phases, Google will like cache all the resources. There will be cache, 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 cache. Okay. Next. Okay, this like is an example of the rendering. It's not completely like this, and Google does it, but it's very similar, so keep that in mind. If, for example, if you ever use page speed inside, you already saw an image similar to this one, and that is like all the step of the rendering process. Now, okay, so to process, so you remember the yellow part, the rendering part. To have all these, Google like have a special tool in a certain sense. Then is the web rendering service. Then will take care of this part. So what they try to do now, is to render the page as you render it in the browser, almost the same. As I told you, there are some difference, but it's like the idea is to do it as a user would have it. Okay, now rendering is delicate, and is very important for me. Then you keep in mind, while Google is able to render a page, doesn't mean then you have to have like initial HTML and final HTML completely different, because that is very delicate. If you ever used the Search Console, then you would have realized then often the rendering part doesn't work as you would like. So more resource you have, they need to be connected for the rendering part, more it gets difficult. So, and moreover to that, like you have so many link resource, everything then have to be connected, and that, as I said, like ask for a lot of resources. However, resources are limited. Later on, we will speak about the crawl budget, and just keep in mind the resources are limited, because Google have to crawl the entire web, not just your website. Okay, these are some ideas. You obviously are a developer, so you have like more knowledge, and especially if you are a front-ender than I have. But these are anyway some ideas that could like help you to understand how you could help the web rendering service. So for example, by using server-side rendering, that could be an idea, tree shaking, like whatever is that, eliminated. Caching, we will speak about caching because I repeat like 7 times caching. So I hope that you keep that in mind. And I have a special slide about caching. You need to add like hashes, like, so we would speak about fingerprinting. And then there is this sentence, then I was like obliged to add it because all SEO will say it. However, it will be more dependent on the knowledge of the dev for that, like bundle your code, but split it into a reasonable bundle. So I don't know exactly what it means, a reasonable bundle, but I'm sure that as a developer, you are you know how much is a reasonable bundle. Okay, let's speak about caching. So as I told you before, caching happens in the crawling phase. And the problem is this. Why Google is obliged to cache? Because, as we said before, the web is huge. So it can go each time to your website and repeat the rendering process. The rendering process costs so much. It just can't do that. So what it will do, it will like cache all the resources, and like this, when there will be something updated, it will just focus on what is updated. Now, what is the problem? Sometimes you generate like a JavaScript file and you keep the same name. Okay, but then if you keep the same name, how Google can understand, then that is a different file. So they advise to use content fingerprinting to ensure then they can see then that is a new file and is not exactly the same as before. That will help Google crawl that new file and proceed to the rendering part. So I gave you an example here just to make it a little bit clear. You have this fantastic product page and you worked with the content, with the UX designer, and everybody is happy about this product page, and you decide to create a super new feature. Okay, then you did add this page, you create this new feature, fresh new content. Problem, you are using the same name as before for your JavaScript file. Google will not crawl it. So you put so much effort for nothing. It's not sure, but there is the risk that it will not crawl it. Okay, so here is an example of content fingerprint. And for example, I saw then at least they use query parameters. Query parameters are okay. By experience, I've seen that query parameters are okay. Google always advise fingerprint. That side, I think then query parameters are okay. A personal belief. Okay, third myth, SEO don't care about performance. Obviously, as I repeat 100 times since the beginning, performance is important for us. Why is super important? Because it's important for Google, then it's important for us. So for maybe 3 months ago, Google announced this new like updated, he updated the requirement for the page experience. And before you did have like a non-intrusive interstitial. You wanted then you have like HTTPS, safe browsing, so nothing bad to inject in your website, mobile friendly. So these are all stuff then probably you are aware of it. But now something new happened. It's like, okay, I want to know if people then are visiting your website think then you are offering a good experience. Okay, then are happy with the experience. The problem is Google is not human. They can't know if you're offering a good experience, yes or no. So they decided to measure that. And they decided to take some measure to define if the experience is good or not. So mainly it will be numerical. So there are like these three new measures. So large contentful paint, and that is connected to speed, really to the speed of the website or of the web page. Then you have interactivity. And that is linked to the first input delay. And the cumulative layout shift then is linked to the visual stability. So all these are signals for Google, okay? So we will go in detail about these three because they're really important and they will become a ranking factor, and it will be from May 2021. Okay, so how do you know? Obviously, they're measured, so you need to know, am I good or am I not good at it? Okay, so large contentful paint, okay, it means then the large contentful paint in your web page need to charge in less than 2.5 seconds. Here, first input delay, 100 milliseconds. Here is just a rating, so we will check that also later on. Okay, so what is large contentful paint? I took the definition from Google. So I always put like in the slide the source, so that you, if ever you want to go back or check directly Google documentation, you can find it. So it is a metric that reports the render time of the large image or text block that is visible within the viewport. So let me visually show you what that means, because it means nothing if not. If we check in the rendering part, this, for example, for this website, is the large contentful paint. Okay, so if it takes, remember, if it takes less than 2.5 seconds, is good. Okay, so if you are used to use the developer tools, and you can directly see it in the developer tools. Okay, we also see long task, but the goal here, it was to show you this. As you can see in the performance part of the developer tools, you have like this. If you click on it, you will see like which, if the image or if the text is considered the large contentful paint, and at the same time, at the bottom, it will give you also like how much time it takes to charge. How to optimize for large contentful paint? It's like a little bit like optimizing for speed, and the problem is then obviously JavaScript impact a lot the largest contentful paint. So again, these are some idea. I'm sure that you are more aware than I am, but like minify, remove unused a non-critical script, like remove unused JavaScript, use the fair asynchronous load. And then there is also the image, like compress image, use a lazy loading, for example. That's like will help a lot. So mainly when you have like a heavy JavaScript website, you know, then JavaScript will impact your speed. There is no miracle. So you need to do something from the front end, or also from the server side, but mainly do something to improve it. Okay, I forgot to say at the beginning, then I will add some images here and there, then have nothing to do. If at the end you remember what these images are, that means then you were awake the entire presentation, and I will be particularly happy. Here is one. Okay, let's go back to our three measures. So first, input delay. First input delay, as I told you, is a second measure that is very important, and like is the interaction with the website. Let me give you a practical example, because I think then it will be much easier to understand. So first input delete, for example, happening here. Imagine that you are in the website, somebody clicks on, clicks like to interact. Maybe there is a link or I don't know, a button, and you want a response, no? But now the problem is then the main thread is busy. So you have like long task. So you have to wait the end of the long task before having a response. And so that it's not okay. Or better, it's okay because you don't have a choice, but it can take more than 100 milliseconds. If it takes more than 100 milliseconds, it means then your first input delay is not okay. Okay, so where can you see long task in the dev tool? So I always use Chrome because obviously Chrome is what like Google advise us to use as SEO in a certain sense. So you can see here the small corner here, and these are the long tasks. So you can check if your long tasks are okay, not okay, and you can see the time, for example, there. Obviously, you have other tools. I'm just giving you like if there is a page then you want to test, you can test it like this quickly. How to optimize for first input delay? Obviously, as before, the problem is like heavy JavaScript. So if you optimize for large contentful paint and you optimize the JavaScript, then automatically you are optimizing also for first input delay, because yeah, JavaScript is the main problem. So I will not pass through all the solution like code splitting, etc. Again, if you are a front-ender, you are probably aware of what you should do. And if not, there is always Google documentation that you can follow. The third measure is cumulative layout shift. Do you have in your mind that very disturbing moment when you are in a website and you try to click on something, then you find super interesting and it looks like, oh, that looks super interesting, and then you try to click and you finish in an advertisement, for example, and simply because it shifts and you click it on the advertisement instead of where you wanted? Yeah, that is a cumulative layout. That is a layout shift, and cumulative layout shift is a lot of this shift in the page. So that is an example that Google gives, like to make you understand how it works. Here is me. As usual, I try to show you in the developer tool where you can see it. You have your layout shift, and as you can see here, you have the cumulative score. So that's sadly not very smart. I took the first one, so obviously it's the same score. But if you arrive to the third one, you will see then this, it will accumulate the first layout shift, second layout shift, and the third layout shift. And this will tell you, okay, your score is good, not good. So if it is more than 0.1, it's not good. You need to work on it. How to optimize for cumulative layout shift? But as I told you, it's really like this disturbing stuff that happens when you move. So what you can do, like have like CSS ratio box. There are some like define a space. If you have an advertisement, define a space like this, then there is not this shift, for example. Okay, again, remember, are you all awake? Okay, so sadly I can see you. Okay, so why SEO likes and dev use Webpack? I know then using Webpack is a pain. At least it was for me. I tried I try to understand a little bit better your work, so I tried to use Webpack to better understand your work. It was the worst moment of my life. I arrived till the end just because some developer in Leap helped me to arrive till the end. But voila, so I understand that is a pain. That said, there are several advantages of using Webpack. So a lot of problems are directly solved by using like a Webpack, and with this magic npm, then you can write and add something, then do the magic. Like if you have like a CSS blocking resource, you can to implement you can implement like critical CSS loading. So then just the important thing come, just important CSS come at the beginning. You automatically have minify without, obviously you have bundles also, so you have so many advantage. And I speak with several dev, and they told me at the moment they are not alternative than are better than Webpack, because they are not mature enough at the moment. But then probably in the future they will be. Second bonus. This is like super cool. The day that I discovered this, I was like, oh, wow. So this is just for you, just to have an idea. It was like this tool, then it comes from Webpack and is a bundle analyzer. Maybe all of you know this bundle analyzer. Maybe you're used to use it. I didn't know that it exists, and the day that I discovered it, I saw that it was a game changer, so I wanted to add it to this presentation. Like this, you can have a better idea of your bundles, what inside your bundles, and maybe what is useless. Okay, I really hope that until now you understood what I did, and sadly I can't see you, and that's so weird, and I can interact with you and make sure that you're not sleeping. However, like let me pass to the fourth myth. So we say then Google can crawl and index, and we say then it can render JavaScript, and so we say so it's perfect, but no, it's not so perfect. So Google has no problem with single page app. No, single page app are a problem. Let's analyze why single page app are a problem. So Google is not able to click. Google is not able to scroll. Whatever is in the DOM is what Google can see. Okay, so even if it is like after rendering, but it's just what is in the final HTML, then Google will see. Okay, so links golden rule. First of all, Google needs a unique URL. Google needs a semantic HTML markup. Okay, we will see that later on in the next slide. Google suggests using history API to load different content based on URL in single page app. Fragmented URL, no, that is no go. Fragmented URL, no, I will not stay there explaining more. It's no. And ensure all link have like a href. Remember what we say at the beginning about the crawling. I know that I insist a lot about this crawling, but remember, there was the phase we was extracting the URLs because all the process start thanks to that. So, okay, so I will not spend 2 hours in this slide. It's just, and I wanted to give you an example. Like, first one, it's a good link. Why it's a good link? Because I have my href, I have a destination page, and I also have my anchor text. Here is an okay link. Okay, it's not a problem. It's still an okay link. All the rest is a bad link, not even to consider. Yeah, third slide didn't have nothing to do with, and just remember this because Google just did an update. So that is how I was feeling the other day. Okay, now coming back to something more serious, how Ajax affect crawl budget. So this is like a question then come from Jamie Alberico in, I had the link to the video because she was like, okay, so maybe last year she was like, oh, some time ago, I don't remember. She was like, okay, explain me to Martin Split. Then is like one of the connection between Google developers and SEO. So if you ever have a question, do not hesitate to ask to Google. The answer. I have tried several times. They always answer. And so she asked, okay, how Ajax affect the crawl budget? And here comes the concept of crawl budget. So let me explain what crawl budget it is. So as I said before, the web is big, really big. So so Google need to prioritize what to crawl when, and often like it can't like have like 100 million of requests for your website, because your server will broke. So obviously there is also a limit on that. So we have two limits: your server and how much Google can really dedicate to a website. So there is a rate limit then Google can dedicate. Okay, so that's mean then for a website, you have every website have a crawl budget. When that crawl budget is gone, okay. Then it will obviously have a new crawl budget, but for that time it's gone. So what's the problem with Ajax? So you have like a limited number of resources. That is what we said before with this crawl budget. To supplement a page with Ajax, you need many requests, but you don't have just Ajax. So if you have an international website, you will have like Href lang, or also in Switzerland, obviously, because we have several language. You have CSE, CSS, if you have like AMP, etc., etc. So all these like consume crawl budget. Everything is consuming crawl budget. Now, Martin Split, so this guy of Google that I was saying before, gave a good example on that. Like you have this like product page, and you ask for the product page, but then you realize then you didn't ask just for one URL, because there is Ajax. You also have Ajax then is supplying the page. So you ask for one URL and you find yourself with 10 URLs, because you have one from the product page plus the other 9 that are coming from the Ajax request. So that's mean then you are using a lot of crawl budget in that case, because you're not using one, you're using 10. Now, as I said at the beginning, Google, you cache everything. So that will obviously help, but first time you are using a lot of crawl budget. So just, I know that now you have alternative solution, but just be careful on that. Other thing, single page app had this bad like reputation of creating soft 404. So you have your like your server request. They give you so first of all, let me explain what is a soft 404. It's like when as a user you see then there is a 404, but the answer that you get is a 200. The status code answer that you get is a 200. That is like something is wrong now. There is like a gap. And that typically happens with a single page app, because like everything happens in the browser. So the first time you ask your request, perfect, you have a 200, but then everything happens in the browser, and maybe not everything is a 200. So you have like two solutions. You can go and check again the developer like a guide generated by Google for that, and you will see like some of the problems that are generated by a single page app and solution. There I wrote like the solution they suggest. Testing your single page app. So, okay, you have several ways of testing if your single page app has a problem, yes, no. So you have the Google Search Console. My feeling, and I think that is quite correct, is that developers do not use the Search Console enough, or simply they don't use it at all. And that is a mistake, because that is a direct connection on how Google see your page. You even have, at the moment is suspended, but normally you have really the possibility also to enter an URL, do a live test and see if something is wrong. So you will have your JavaScript, you have you will see if there is a JavaScript problem. You will see of physically how Google see the page. So Google Search Console mobile friendly tests are something that you should use. Now, this is a more manual way. I added SEO Nerd, even if it is not a single page app, the meetup, but just to make you understand how you can do it. There is you can use the site command. You select an URL, and you write the site command. And then, for example, you can like this. You can see if the page is indexed in Google. So this is the method: site with the URL, site 2 dots and the URL. If you want to know if some of your content is indexed, then you do the site command, then you add quotes and you write a sentence that is inside in the page. If that does not appear in Google, it means then probably your content is not completely indexed. So voila, here is an example of what it is, the site console, the Google Search Console, sorry, the Google Search Console. Okay. So I think then finally you can be happy, because we arrive at almost the last meet. I think then is the last meet. Pre-rendering is always the best solution. That is a tricky one. So because that is your last one. Okay, so SEO love server-side rendering. Let's face it, we are so scared of client-side rendering. Why we are so scared? Because I can guarantee you, if you stay 1 week in the SEO community, there will not be 1 week without an horror story, but a real horror story. My client insisted in doing client-side rendering, and this is how much he lost in his traffic. I have told him to not do it. These are typically the horror story that you hear, and so we are really, really, really scared of that. Now, the rendering phase is complicated. As I said before, it's very complicated. Web rendering service need to do a lot of work in the rendering phase. So if your initial HTML and final HTML is very similar, Google will say thank you. And so that is also a good idea to have it like this. We love everything that implies control. So it doesn't mean that we need to have control. We completely trust developer 99% of the time. And so we will as developer, can you please ensure that the server is fast? But then again, server side, you have so much control on the server and so little control on the browser. So that is also something important. Moreover, okay, everything then is fast. Then again, server-side rendering can have some implication to not be so fast, obviously, but then probably it will be faster than client-side rendering. Okay, this is a lot why we love server-side rendering. Then there is pre-rendering. So is pre-rendering always a good idea? And again, it depends. I think then every case we have to analyze it, but I would say then it depends, because what you will do, it's a lot. You should do like a lot of lazy loading, and maybe in this case in pre-rendering, choose what is like really important, critical for the user intent of that page. Again, that was like part of the JavaScript Maybe Bust YouTube video that we saw before with Ajax, and that was like another question asked by Jamie. So here you can find also the link to see another solution, what Google say about pre-rendering. So client-side rendering, as I said before, it's no. For any SEO in this planet will say no. However, Google came up with a solution, dynamic rendering. The first time that I heard dynamic rendering, I was just like, is that clocking? Because that is absolutely illegal from Google point of view, but no, they support it and say then it's not clocking, then it's not clocking. So mainly is then you are really switching between client and you are really switching between client and server, and you will serve to the user agent the server side version, and to the user the client side render version. Sorry, I hope then it was clear. So always in Google documentation, you can find like pro and cons of each and all the solution. A lot of people doing SEO will like or server-side rendering or static server-side rendering. I had once like a meetup with Martin Split, and in the meetup he was like, so maybe you can work on server-side rendering or with rehydratation, because it is a little bit the best of both worlds. So it is a compromise. Now maybe it's difficult to implement for developer, but it's a compromise. So finally we did it. We are at the conclusion. I hope that you all understood. Yeah, thank you for listening to me. I hope then it was clear, and I hope then it's clear why JavaScript needs a little bit of without a little bit needs a lot of support from developers to help us to make the website like a better website for bots and user at a certain point also. And I deeply can't imagine then we completely eliminate JavaScript, in the sense then so much better a website than anyway is interactive. So maybe also for that rehydration is like a good solution. Okay, I hope then everything is clear. Let me switch off the presentation. Can I? No. Geoffrey, then oblige me to remove the stuff. Okay, stop sharing. Okay.
Okay, I'm here again. Thank you, Sarah, for the presentation. You should have let the presentation in case of questions, so you could have come back to the presentation. But I guess we'll do it if ever needed.
Okay. So yeah.
Okay, so we have a few questions. It's regarding the assets, such as JavaScript or more images, not JavaScript, but shall we serve a 404 or a 401 for removed assets?
Sorry, say it again. In which case? Should we serve a 404?
So if they have on a page, you had like a picture that got indexed into Google, and then you remove it, but it's still indexed in Google. Yeah. Shall you serve Shall I say for
So-
4 or for 1?
So if you want to index it and there is a good reason, be careful, because sometimes it's not a good reason to index it, and sometimes it's better to have a 301 redirect, especially if it was well indexed, and yeah, sometimes it's a little bit tricky. But yes, 410 like will do the job faster than a 404.
Okay. So yeah, 410. Thank you for correcting this. You better than me
Don't
at
worry.
HTTP codes. Next one, it's from HP. It's come from the chat. It says that I'm more used to SEO and all the thing web related in English. Can you guide me to where can I find more SEO documentation, I guess, but in French?
Yeah, so all Google documentation is in all languages. So, for example, in the presentation, like at the end, I didn't show it, but at the end you have the resources where you can find more information. And these resources, you can just switch the language and you will find it in French. So, so I think then, like, it depends if you want just SEO in general, or if you really want like a specific Google documentation, then you will find it in other language. Now, I have to admit, SEO is very English focused because it's like traditionally come from the Anglo-Saxon country, and I know some people that are well known and write in French. So maybe later on I can check the names and give you the names. I don't know. Can I do it? Like give it like this? Should I? Or I will add them in the presentation. Let's do it.
Yeah,
like
I will
this.
share the presentation on Twitter after the talk, maybe tomorrow, so that people can always download them and check them.
Okay, so fine.
Okay, we have a few more questions. Okay, next question. Is it important to make paginated pages such as product or pages or blog articles scrollable, or having a proper sitemap linking to the pages?
So one do not exclude the other one. No? When you create internal linking, obviously you are helping Google. Now, the advantage of having a sitemap is obvious, then it will be like faster to find everything in one place. So is an XML site, for people that are not aware, I'm speaking about an XML sitemap. So not like the HTML sitemap is really the so both are a good way, and anyway, yes, sitemap like XML sitemap is the faster way.
Okay, so you should do an XML sitemap, and of course you need to make your page to make them
crawlable
the pagination
and
crawlable. Yeah. Okay, thank you. The next question. Four more questions. How Google crawler reacts to cookie banners as interstitial, and does it have an impact on ranking?
Sure, yes. As I said at the beginning now, yeah, you can read it better in the documentation, but absolutely, you can have when you have this huge stuff then come on your page and is blocking the user experience, but that is super negative, and so that is a no-go. And like maybe it was in 2000, if I remember well, in 2017 they updated that, and that is a no-go.
Okay, so I shouldn't have a cookie banner.
A cookie banner. Sorry,
Yeah,
a cookie banner. Oh, sorry. So I sorry. I was thinking about the advertisement. No, okay, yeah, like the banner all over. No. So cookie banner are an exception. So obviously, like also for legal age and cookie banner, legal age and everything that are exceptions.
Okay, so I can use a cookie banner, but for instance, if you have like this shitty newsletter stuff that takes all the pages, then I will be.
That is a no.
Yeah, okay. Google will punish me for doing this. Great. Good. Next question. I will ask them a couple more and then we'll be done. Yeah. How important are the core vitals compared to sitemap or endlink 404?
What a tricky question. Oh la la, what a tricky question. So we'll come with the tricky answer. Obviously sitemap, personally think then is like super important. Why? Because as we said before, links are the main driver. So okay, sitemap for me is super important. Now imagine then you have a website, two websites at the same level. Okay, you and your competitor both have good content, because content will always beat a good technical SEO. Content will be anyway the winner. But say then both you have good content, and then your competitor has a better core web vital than you, and both you have a sitemap, but then it will win. Then it will rank better than you will rank, because like core web vital are a ranking factor, is a matter of fact, is a ranking factor, and sitemap is the way for Google to find your links. And regarding handling 404, so 404, it depends the number of 404s then you have obviously in your website, but but it's like it's part of the life of a website in a certain sense. So better to avoid them. I agree with that, but it's still okay to have some 404. I shouldn't say it loudly, but
yeah, in the real world,
in the real world, Google knows then you have 404. Come on,
okay.
at a certain point, it will remove them from the indexing, and that's all.
Okay, thank you. Next question. I guess this one we already answered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, whoa. Yeah. Questions are switching quickly. Does the existence of a sitemap XML risk reducing the crawler's capacity to find by itself pages which does not appear in the sitemap.xml?
Does it reduce it? I wouldn't say then it reduce it, because for example, if you see in the search console, you always find like written pages, then Google find by itself. I don't remember exactly what is the correct terminology, but yes, he is like he can find page by himself. And probably I would say, adding a sitemap, what would add is then probably inside like the sitemap you have the sitemap is your page in a certain sense. Inside the page you have another link, so maybe it will help discover a page that is not in the sitemap, but you wanted to add.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I guess we have one question left. Okay. Reacting on the sitemap question, should we also add pages? So basically, all the pages with query string in the sitemap, like when you have a combination of filters.
Yeah, I see. I understand. So normally, let me understand your question just to make sure. Normally, if you have like these queries, is because like you have like a page 1, 2, 3, then are very similar. So what will happen? I can give you an example. Let's say then you have this e-commerce, and then in the e-commerce you have the possibility to choose the price, and then when you choose the price, for example, you change from 99 francs to 100 francs. Okay, that will generate a query. Okay, that will generate like a query with a new page. Okay, in that case, you don't add it in the sitemap. What you do is define a canonical. In that case, you will define like the canonical from the page 100 like to in the page 99 to the URL without the query. So the rule is then in the sitemap, you just add what is important. If it is not important, don't bother and don't add it in the sitemap.
Okay, so if I understood correctly, use canonical, so define a canonical URL with the page path, and then serve this canonical URL when
To the sitemap.
To the sitemap. And of
Exactly.
course, when you also load the page with the query string, I guess.
You can load the page with the query string now, because, for example, when I test 99, I want to have a new page because I have new results. No, but then the Google should index the canonical, should not index all the query string. Then you have.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's clear now. Okay. I think there's only one question left. I will show it myself. How do we know our crawl budget when we have a website, and how do we know when we don't have crawl budget anymore? Is there a way to know that?
No, so that nobody knows it. That is like Google secret sauce. What you know, there are several things that you can know. First of all, crawl budget, it's a problem just for big website. Very big website. Okay, so it just came out an article maybe a couple of days ago where Google was defining like exactly. So was defining like 1 million of page, but then if you have an e-commerce and a big e-commerce, it's not so difficult to arrive to that. I would say even easier, like you have so many things that can happen. And if you want to know really if it is a problem, your crawl budget, there is just a way. From my experience, maybe another SEO will find another way, but for me, it's just to control the logs. There is no other way. Ask for the logs. You are a developer, ask for the logs, and then do an analysis of the logs from where Google is going to which page is going, and maybe on analyze logs for 3 months, because it doesn't beats the point of analyzing the log for a month. And then if you see then he's always going to the same pages and he's not touching the pages then for you are important, or you have a problem in the website architecture, anyway you need to change that, or you have a problem of crawl budget. But that is the best way to know how, it's the best way to know if there is a problem.
Okay, so if I summarize, if I did everything correct to make my website more SEO friendly, and I check in the log and I see that it doesn't crawl the pages I want to, that might indicate that I've been running out of crawl budget.
Yes, you're running out of crawl budget, and at the same time, it could also indicate that your website architecture is not good. So I would say, anyway, checking the log is always good.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. We have no more question. So I'd like to thank you a lot, Sara, for your presentation. I learned a lot tonight about SEO, and I guess that's the same for most of the people in the chat. If ever we have any questions, how can we reach you?
So yes, there is 2 ways. Can I add my my private my email in the comments? Everybody will see them.
Yeah, you can add it in the comments.
Yeah, how do I do that? Okay, so I have no clue because I can't click on it and write. So maybe Geoffrey, you know my obviously my email.
I guess it will be in the slides, right?
Yeah, so it will be in the slides, and so the options are 2. First, it will be in the slides, and second, you can always reach me on LinkedIn. So Sara Moccand-Sayegh, and on LinkedIn, I'm quite active.
Okay, thank you, and thank you again for your time and all the experiences you shared.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was really kind.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.
Bye,
Have a nice
Sara.
day. Bye. Bye.
So now it's time to announce the next WebMardi. So in 2021, in January, we will have Nicolas Martin, who will talk about push notification on the web. So how you do that, what can you do to make that happen on your website? So he will give you recommendation and share his experience on the topic. That's going to be on the 5th of January. And that will be streamed online on YouTube as well as on Twitch. So stay connected. You can already subscribe to the event on meetup.com/webmardi or go on webmardi.ch, and then you will be able to access to the link to the live streaming. Okay, so we'll be soon in 2021, and I'm really happy to tell you that we already have all the slots which are taken. So we already have 2 talks which will be prepared for 2021. We will talk about project management, typography, productivity, UX, analytics, CMS, API, so a bunch of stuff. You can always follow us on YouTube, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, to get updated on the next talks. And also, don't be shy, and you can always ask us by email if ever you have some question. You can reach us to contact@webmardi.ch. Okay, just one thing. One of our sponsors, Leap, is hiring. They are looking for PHP developer in Lausanne, iOS developer in Lausanne as well, and a front-end web developer in Fribourg. So if you are interested, just check it out on their website on leap.ch/jobs. You can find all our talks on YouTube. So you have access to all the lives, and of course all the video that are processed after. So we only have the talks. You can find them on youtube.com/webmardi. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification so that you get notified, clicking basically on the bell, so that you get notified when there is a new live that will come out. Thank you very much to all of you for participating to the WebMardi in 2020. It wasn't an easy year for us because we had to do all the talks remote because of the sanitary situation, but we'll be happy to have you again in 2021. Hopefully the situation will improve and we might be able to make physical events again to meet you in person. Meanwhile, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and see you in 2021. Take care. Bye.